Rock of ages, cleft for me.
Welcome back to the Circuit Writer Outpost. This is your host, Dr. Michael Napier, and we are back with another interview from the General Conference of the Southern Methodist Church here in Talladega, Alabama. And we have Charles Hines with us from Prospect Southern Methodist Church in Monroe, North Carolina.
That's
right?
it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got it right. I'm trying to remember all these churches. And so we wanted to bring Charles on because he has a lot of things going on with his church up there. And he also is a current member of the school. So we can kind of get an idea. He can kind of give us his experience with the school and how he's enjoying his time here at Southern Methodist College. And so
Yes,
what do you want to start with? You want to start with your church, or you want to start with the school?
Well, I'll just say it's a pleasure to be here. Thank
Yeah.
you for letting me be on here. It's an honor. And I'll say that God is faithful, and He has He led me to the Southern Methodist Church through Prospect Church. They used to be a United Methodist Church. They disaffiliated 5 years ago, and actually it's been over 5 years now. And they were looking for a pastor, and they stumbled across me. But anyway, so I had actually been going to Columbia International University, and then, like I said, just the way the Lord would have it,
Right.
through, just because of His providence, but also finances and just all the different things, I found myself going to Southern Methodist College. So I definitely started going to the Southern Methodist Church first.
Right.
But yes, I've been enrolled at the college now. This is my second semester.
Awesome.
In the master's program. Very excited about it. So I'll say for me, I've been amazed by the Southern Methodist Church, how they have welcomed me and my church with open arms.
Absolutely.
God's been so faithful to provide amazing discipleship, and you find that same DNA in the college.
Right.
And so that has been my story. I've been blown away with the Southern Methodist College and how committed to discipleship and training, just through the books, through the professors, everything. The 4 classes I've taken so far, I've just been blown away.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's more intimate because we have the small numbers in the classroom. We like to make sure we have smaller class sizes so that you can have that one-on-one with the professor if you need it. I know the classes that I have, my students have my phone number. If they need to text me or if they need to call me, there's a time where, they'll text me and say, hey, can I call you about this exam question? And I have no problem answering a question for them over the phone. If there's something in the wording of the question that they need clarified, I'm not going to give them the answer, obviously, but, kind of clarifying what the answers, because when you're going to biblical counseling, there can be some terminology that isn't in your everyday language. So,
And one of the things I appreciate about that too is because the Bible, you can see the biblical integration of education,
Right.
and part of that is the fact that the Bible says, go and make disciples. And so I feel like the Southern Methodist College, in my mind, would say, okay, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're to be making disciples, and that's what they do.
Absolutely, and that's what is so important is not just bringing people into church, but also, getting them to understand what it means to be a Christian and understanding what Christ's teachings were. And I think there in Matthew 28, that's what he's trying to get out is, teach them not just bring them into the house, but also teach them, disciple them, small group, get them into small groups and get that prayer time with them and get to know them and just, become a family, one big family. And that's what, I've only been with the Southern Methodist a little over 9 months, since November, almost 6 months now. And it's the welcomingness of this denomination is so amazing. It feels like one big family. Being here at General Conference for my first time at General Conference is such a blessing.
Well, and in my opinion, this is what Methodism is. Honestly, you can go and you can kind of look at every Methodist denomination, and it doesn't really go in line with how John Wesley had started, and the Wesleyan type theology and his way of ministry. But I've overwhelmingly seen this with the Southern Methodists, and yes, we're not perfect. We're far from it.
Right.
But the willingness and the committed hearts not to be like Wesley, but to be like Christ.
Right.
That's really that's the goal.
Right.
Is that we do, and that the gospel is clearly presented, that we have a burden for the lost. And then one thing, especially this General Conference has made very clear, not just a burden for the lost to be found, but a burden for the lost to be found and then be brought in,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
to be cared for, loved for, counseled, discipled,
Right.
and taught.
Absolutely. And because it's not just as pastors, and this is what we're teaching the guys at the college is you have to love your congregation. You don't just bring people in and just preach on a Sunday morning and then just walk out the door and go home. You have to actually love them, counsel them, and be there for them on a daily basis. If with the congregation, you're going to the hospital and visiting them at the hospital, visiting them at home if they're sick, and things like that. And a lot of what even my predecessor that was in the position that I am before me, Dr. Blank, talks about that in his book, in the biblical counseling book that we're in the process of updating at the moment, is going out and being there for your congregation, and not just being someone that's just hired to stand there in the pulpit and preach, but actually caring about each member individually and each family individually. And that's what's so important and you see that throughout the denomination, just not just at the college. And that's why I make sure like every one of my congregation members have my phone number, my email address, and I do the same thing with my students, so that they can get a hold of me if they have a question or anything like that.
Well, I'll tell you real quick why I even came to Southern Methodist College, because I was already a minister, and I've been going to Columbia International University. Right. But I'll tell you why. You had mentioned Dr. Blank. Last year, I reached out to Dr. Battle and I said, I need an internship with my master's program
right.
at CIU. And I would like to, have someone to report to kind of mentor me, mm-hmm. and if there's any way he could help me. And so Dr. Battle set me up with Dr. Blank.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing, the relationship. I never physically met Dr. Blank, but the relationship, the phone calls that we had, it made me fall in love with the college. I'm thinking, I want to come to this school.
Right.
And he was 90 years old, and he, like you said, the book on counseling, and like his wisdom about biblical counseling. Right. I was blown away by, because I'm like, I've been studying this for now a few years now, right. and I've been just amazed by his wisdom and just his commitment to right. me, who's not even a student of the college right. yet. And so we had this amazing time of discipleship, and I didn't know it, but it was actually a few months before he actually passed away. Yeah. And so God really led me, but one of the ways is not through the flashiness or the education. I didn't see, it's hard to see that stuff from the outside looking
right.
in.
Absolutely.
But they reached me.
Right. And he was when it came to pastoral counseling, he was a class act. He knew pastoral biblical counseling inside and out, and to follow in his footsteps and to try to fill that big of footsteps is a hard job to do, because he truly was a pioneer in the biblical counseling. Only probably second to Jay Adams himself. And so I would say Dr. Blank was on that level. And even watching because teaching the classes that he taught, I'm going back and watching his lectures, and because he wrote this book. And yeah, I have my doctorate in pastoral counseling, but it's good to go back and watch a true, 20, 30, he was doing this for, I think, 40 years. And so to go back and just watch his lectures and to see what he truly meant to the biblical counseling and pastoral counseling, and what he meant to his congregation and at his church. And that all goes back to the knowledge that he had and what he meant to you, just how he reached out to a master student who was wanting to intern underneath him. And that's how all of us should be. All of us professors there at the college try to be the same as him, because he set an example for us, and Dr. Battle as well. They both set examples of what we should be as professors to the students, and that's why it's so great to be able to interview some of you students while we're here at the conference and get to know your all side of what it's like being at the college and everything like that. So we talked about the college. What is going on at your church?
Well, I'm glad you kind of segued it, because honestly, we were just with the elements of what you're talking about with the Southern Methodist College, the personhood, the chasing after, and that commitment to see, and we talk about discipleship. That's in the very DNA of Southern Methodism. And I'll tell you, the Southern Methodist churches in North Carolina, I feel like there's a movement going on,
right?
And it's called Southern Methodism. That's really what it is, because I think we're returning to what God always intended for us to be. But God is doing something in North Carolina right now. There is almost daily evangelism right now. There's men's groups that are forming, discipleship. There's literally, I have a 19-year-old brother-in-law who's preaching every Sunday night, and he's being raised up. And people are learning to preach. People are learning to lead small groups of Bible study. I have a middle schooler who's teaching Sunday school.
That's awesome.
But so God's raising up these people, and because their young people are on fire right now for the Lord.
That is awesome.
And they want to know more, and they want to be there. And right now, there's a lot of big churches.
Right.
There's a lot of churches that are flashy, have pretty sanctuaries, and everything looks great, but they want something real.
Yeah.
And honestly, because I know I'm taking a lot of time, but I honestly, the Southern Methodist Church is something real. Oh, and it is the authority of the Scriptures that leads us and guides us. It's the not just the reading of it, but the doing of it.
Right,
to actually put it into practice. And that's what's taking place. Yeah. There have been so many salvations this past year, with going to say the local courthouse.
Right.
Over 100 people have given their life to Christ. We've prayed for thousands of people at this point. If you were to kind of survey some of the people at Prospect, many would say they've come to Christ in the last few years. Yeah. And so, but they're willing, they're so open to discipleship. We study the Scriptures, and they're like, oh man, that means I can't do this. Oh, well, that's what the Bible says, so I'll stop doing it.
Right.
So they're open right now. Yeah. And so God's really been blessing us at Prospect, and our extension ministry called The Story, which is actually how I got started in the ministry. It's a Saturday night church, but God is faithful, man. Yeah. God's so good. And
you also have your online stuff too. Yeah. I know you have an actual online prayer meeting that you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I actually watch Charles's nightly prayer meeting, and it's pretty awesome. You and the guys, sometimes you'll do that from the church too.
Yeah. Because there's some lunatics along with me running for the ride. But no, I just this year I feel led to pray for faith, to believe that God can do exceedingly and abundantly more than we can ask or think. And so my focus this year, I just felt like we need to be praying every day. I have fallen short of every single day. Right. I've taken about a collective 20 days off in the last 100 and however many days we are in it now of the year. But it's been a blessing. It's amazing. Intentionally praying for faith, and we actually have a group of a lot of those guys that pray with me on that. We have a group that prays together every night. We've been doing that for 40-something days, just for accountability, meeting together. But it also reminds me of John Wesley and his commitment to the Holy Club,
Right, the Holy Club, yeah.
So it's just amazing what God's doing, and it's kind of cool talking about it because I don't really think about it very much. So it's a good reminder of what the Lord's been doing.
Yeah, man, and I'm excited. That's what it reminded me of too, because seeing all you guys there on Facebook and at your church, and because I'm down in South Carolina, you're up in North Carolina, but it's cool to actually see. You got a group, and these aren't old guys. They're young men. These guys are
all in their 20s,
all of them. And I was it felt like the Holy Club. I was thinking the same thing. It's like Charles Wesley and John Wesley and Whitfield all sitting around together. Yeah. So you would think that it was so cool seeing what you guys are doing up there at Prospect, and it's great having you on the Circuit Rider Outpost, and just be able to talk about the school and what you're doing up there in North Carolina, my man.
Well, I'm so grateful for the ministry that you've brought in. I'm so thankful for you and your leadership and your home and family and Dr. Battle, and just excited. I believe God is moving, and I just want to stay on board. I don't want to get off.
Right, absolutely. And to see the young pastors that are coming in and that are being made. And each one of our churches needs to look for young men that are in our congregations that can be the next leaders in the denomination, because we have a whole generation that's going to be phasing out, and so we need to build up new young men in the ministry. that are in our churches. Look for those individuals that are in your Southern Methodist Church that need to have that need and that want to serve the Lord, and that the Southern Methodist Church and the Southern Methodist College would be good for, because it is an affordable college. It's not. This is affordable, true biblical education that they're getting here at the Southern Methodist College, and it's most of what you can do it all online. And so if you're up in North Carolina, you don't have to drive all the way down to Orangeburg. You can do it right there in Monroe.
That's right.
And so if you are a young man, or if you're a parent of a young man and you're watching the Circuit Rider Outpost, and you like what you're seeing here in the Southern Methodist Church and the Southern Methodist College, give us a call at the college, or go on our college website, and you can go and apply there. And we are so excited to have anyone who wants to come on board. And it's smcollege.edu. And that is our college website. You can go there and apply for summer and fall classes. Enrollment is open for summer and college enrollment. So go to the college, smcollege.edu, and apply today.
Rock